How's it going, everybody? My name is The Starks, and welcome to a brand new The Last of Us video. Apparently, Naughty Dog and PlayStation are reportedly developing The Last of Us Part 2 Director's Cut. In an article provided by Hypebeast, they state, a director's cut of Naughty Dog and PlayStation's award-winning game The Last of Us Part 2 is reportedly in development. According to video game industry insider Tom Henderson, multiple reports are stating that the remake of The Last of Us is almost complete and could release in the second half of the year. He added that he has also heard rumors of The Last of Us Part 2 director's cut, but he could not pinpoint a tentative release. He states that them all releasing together could be a good compromise if, let's say, God of War Ragnarok were to get delayed to Q1 of 2023, but that's just speculation on my end for the moment, he continued. In August of 2021, reports suggested that The Last of Us Part 2 could be receiving a multiplayer battle royale mode, and with the rumors of the director's cut, there's a possibility that the new mode could be a part of the upcoming version. YouTuber Specializer spotted assets specifically made for multiplayer mode deep within the game's files, but nothing conclusive has been announced as of writing. The article goes on to break down Tom Henderson's tweet, in which he states that he heard from multiple people now that the TLOU remake is nearly finished and could release during the latter half of 2022. Following a second tweet, he states that with TLOU 2 multiplayer and TLOU 2 director's cut, I've heard they are coming too, but I don't know exactly when or how. Them all releasing together could be a good compromise if, let's say, God of War got delayed to Q1 2023, but yet again, that's just speculation on his end. And that was just essentially the article. It was a very short article, very short read. And now on to my opinions, which is probably going to be a lot stronger than most people's. I think I've been vocal in the past, especially on Twitter, about The Last of Us remake, which I, and at least a lot of people in the community, not everyone, I'm sure, but a lot of people are kind of baffled, maybe even confused, a lot more confused than I hope Naughty Dog is. I hope that PlayStation and Naughty Dog have some form of direction with this apparent remake that they're making, but I don't see the necessity to create a remake, and I don't understand why PlayStation would invest this resources into making a remake. However, I will say that I know a lot more people are hopeful and excited for The Last of Us Part 2 director's cut. However, I am not a part of that majority whatsoever. I can't really fathom the concept of having a director's cut, and I mean no disrespect to people who, of course, want a director's cut, but I am a huge believer in creative expression, and I feel like a director's cut is kind of re-releasing a portion of an art form, whether it's a movie. It's director's cut typically are done in the film industry. I know this very well, and I find this shift in culture to be very odd. I mean, why are we having director's cut for video games? It's so strange to me. But I guess because it is a medium, and it's a platform, a creative outlet for a lot of people as well, is to create director's cuts. But I just don't really understand the intention behind this. Now, from what I've heard about director's cuts, I asked somebody on a Discord about Ghost of Tsushima, for instance, because I know that is a video game that has a director's cut. And I heard like they got new maps, I think, and a little new side missions, even a few features on the actual controller. So they added some newer implementations for controls. But I don't see how Naughty Dog could possibly entertain the fact of changing any fundamental aspect to their game. Obviously, there's not going to be any graphical improvements. I don't believe so, at least. I think the only major improvements, or I wouldn't consider it improvements, but changes that The Last of Us Part 2 could have with the director's cut is its narrative, design, features. That's it. Just three things: narrative, design, and features. Narrative being story, plot, dialogue, extra missions, or even extra scenes added in. For design, I'm talking more flexibility and more openness for players to experiment with different levels a little bit more, perhaps, or maybe even structural changes to certain areas to make it a little bit more engaging for fans who've been overly critical for certain parts of the game. And then, of course, The third one, which I mentioned, which was features, maybe adding a different feature or something, or maybe even changing certain features so that it suits newer players much better. But again, I don't really understand the concept of a director's cut, mainly because I've never been a person who have bought director's cuts for movies, and I don't intend on buying director's cuts for video games. I think, in my honest, genuine opinion, that director's cuts kind of undermine the original creative expression of the thing that you put out. I think video games who have had very turbulent and challenging development phases should do director's cuts. But my concept of a director's cut actually is more on the documentary side of things. You know, PlayStation for a while, for a lot of their games, they did this for Uncharted, they did this for God of War, as far as I'm aware. Maybe even Ghost of Tsushima. I know they did this for The Last of Us, as well as The Last of Us Part 2. But give fans something like the option to be able to top off or do an add-on when they purchase their game. Add an extra $2, $5, or even more or less, where players can have that option of buying this extra content, and it gets printed on a receipt, or you get to download it, upload it, you get to print it out or whatever on a computer or a device of sorts, your PlayStation, a computer, a phone even, and you're able to watch and experience and kind of understand the development phases, because that is what interests me as a fan. I don't really understand this concept, like I said, of releasing a director's cut and having people play through the game again. You re-release it, you pay more money for it. I mean, I don't really understand that, and I don't know how Naughty Dog could possibly change, very strong moments in the game unless they don't. Which is why I hope this is not actually being developed, because one, I think it's a waste of money and resources, and two, because I think it's a waste of money and resources, I'm kind of upset with PlayStation and Naughty Dog's direction. More so PlayStation's, because I think it's PlayStation who's probably pushing this concept because it probably makes them good money. Like, obviously they have financial executives who kind of analyze the money in versus money out. And of course, if Naughty Dog is able to produce this, The Last of Us Part 2, re-release, director's cut, and have people buy it whilst conserving the money you put in to actually make the changes necessary, obviously PlayStation and Naughty Dog are going to profit huge once fans, not myself, but other fans, buy into this director's cut. It would be interesting to see the contrasts between what they do in terms of if there's going to be extra scenes and whatnot. But obviously, that's something I'm more excited about. Like, if they do add extra scenes, I don't really care about the features or map designs. But like I was saying, I am a lot more interested in seeing a 1 hour documentary like they did for Raising Kratos. I know that documentary, I believe, was like almost 155 minutes. I remember watching it like twice. Not 155 minutes. It was an hour and 55 minutes almost. I think it was 154, or I keep saying 100. It was an hour and 54 minutes of just pure entertainment, like watching Cory Barlog. I can't remember anybody else in Santa Monica. I'm familiar with their faces, but I can't remember them by names. And all the other developers, kind of sitting down and understanding really the insight of development phases in video games, and understanding the challenges and the turbulence that the studio goes through in order to make this game what it was, which is God of War 2018. And it was so fascinating to watch it and understand the kind of the blood, sweat, and pixels, quite literally, that went into creating God of War. And the same could be said for the Last of Us Grounded documentary, which was, I think, an hour and 20 minutes or something. It doesn't matter how long it was, but the point is, it was an entertaining documentary that allowed fans like myself to watch something and understand really the development that these video game studios go through. I mean, these are AAA studios that have gone through massive challenges in their development phases, from people quitting, from bugs. I remember Naughty Dog had a lot of bugs. Actually, it wasn't Naughty Dog, it was God of War, I believe. They did like a scan or something, and they found a bunch of bugs. And then obviously you see, as the film progresses, the progress that these companies make. I think that's what they should do. Allow us to top up $5 onto our video game. Allow us to purchase this content where we're able to see a director's cut right there, a documentary, behind the scenes footage and insights on the development of this video game, and then give us like extra scenes that you were gonna put in but you cut out and whatnot. I don't want to have to pay an extra $70 or an extra $10 or whatever to replay The Last of Us Part 2 with scenes and other features that just didn't make it in the game, which again is why I'm kind of baffled by this concept of a director's cut. I think a director's cut is a lot more suitable for the film industry, mainly because it's easier to produce. I don't think it costs nearly as much money, and I mean, you're gonna you profit a lot bigger for this, I think, unless I'm completely wrong. And like I said, these PlayStation executives and all these finance guys know exactly what they're doing, right? Obviously, the end goal is to make money, but I mean, I don't know anybody who was really asking for a director's cut, which again goes back to my original I guess upset with this piece of news. Is I want Naughty Dog to make creative and innovative video games. I don't want them to re-release their 2020 video game as a director's cut, undermining the original intent of the original game. I don't want them to make a remake either. I don't know anybody who was asking for a remake, right? We want a new IP. We want a new Uncharted game, a new Last of Us game, but don't re-release The Last of Us as a director's cut and call it a new game or whatever. Like, I'd rather you do a DLC like you did with Uncharted: The Lost Legacy that grew into a larger standalone video game, and release something with that. And don't get me wrong, I think Naughty Dog I believe their work. It's not a matter of belief. I know they're working on multiple projects. I know they're working on their multiplayer battle royale game, which is I'm going to be talking a lot about their multiplayer in the coming weeks ahead once I get the time to. But I really wanted to make this video to kind of talk about this director's cut. I'm really interested to figuring out other people's opinions on a director's cut. Like, do you believe that this is something you would purchase? Do you like my idea where, you top off an extra $5 as an in-game bonus add-on that you have to download or copy onto a website or whatever, and you get this like 30-minute to 60-minute or more documentary about the insight into the development of this game, and maybe you get extra content as well, like scenes that were cut out or original intent with this thing. I was also thinking what they could add to this is the original script of the game. Obviously, mocapping has gone big. It is cinematography, right? We're able, and there's a lot of script that goes behind it. We see the writing processes. That would be so cool because I enjoy writing and reading, and I would love to see the original script for the Last of Us Part 2. And then I would like to see the edits and everything that they cut out, everything that they were considering doing. And obviously, I know PlayStation and Naughty Dog themselves and other companies, of course, do their own marketing with this, where they do behind the scenes. I know The Last of Us had that back in 2020, where they had like every week they were releasing stuff. I know Uncharted 4 had this because I was watching this every single week, where they had like a Road to Uncharted 4 series, where every week, I believe it was, they were producing like 15 minute, maybe more videos talking about the behind the scenes of Uncharted, and it was really informative. And I didn't find it was as exciting to watch The Last of Us Part 2's behind the scenes. I don't know why. It just felt a lot stranger. I don't know if it was the pandemic situation that caused that, but whatever the situation was, I would love to see Naughty Dog and PlayStation going forward do something like this rather than doing director's cuts, because again, I do believe that it undermines the original value of the game that you've created in the first place, especially if you're adding scenes to the game that were originally cut out. They were going to be in it, but you cut it out, right? There's so many complicated things about a director's cut that I just don't want to get into in video games. I think it's a lot, like I said, more suitable for the film industry. But let me know in the comment section below. I know I said a lot in this video. Your opinion on the director's cut, but also the Last of Us remake. If they do make the Last of Us remake, would you buy it? Do you think this is a strategy to kind of get newer fans who are probably going to be watching the show to buy in to PlayStation and a remake, get familiar with the games? Just let me know in the comment section below. And of course, with that being said, thank you a lot for watching. Before I go, however, I just want to say thank you to all the supporters. and people who have, watched my videos and have given me, good constructive criticism and have supported my content over the many years that I've actually really had this channel for. And to all the newcomers, I appreciate your warm welcomes, and you being generous enough to support my content and even subscribe. And I very much value your input and your opinions, so leave them in the comment section below, because I'm really curious to know everybody's opinion on this director's cut as well as the remake. And with that being said, of course, I have been the Starks. Peace.